What's up, guys? This is Yacin, and today I'm extremely happy and proud to showcase these combos on one of my favorite decks of all time, which is Metalfoes Draco, featuring new support, by the way, because the new Dark Magician of Destruction, the new fusion monster, is absolutely cracked in this deck. It's almost custom card support. I mean, it really is for like Dark Magician and everything that can play Magician Souls, but also for, this deck. Because Magician Souls is like particularly cracked in Metalfoes. You're going to see why in just a second. So even if you don't really care about this deck, I think this combo video is at least going to be super entertaining for you. But yeah, anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. As always, smash the like and subscribe button. Check out my blue eyes and Crystron spreadsheet, etc. Blah blah. You can find it on my website, yacineygo.com. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so my hand is pretty good. The most important card in my hand is Chronograph Sorcerer. Everything else is Metalfoes monsters. So it's not really like they have interesting effects. They pretty much all do the same thing in the scale, but Melcaster and Bismugear have monster effects, so that's kind of matters, but it's not really effects on the field. It's rather when they die. Bismugear gets an end phase search, kind of like Scarm, and Melcaster is going to recycle back a Metalfoes Pendulum monster from the extra deck to the hand, but then I can't activate its effects or like scale it or summon it or something, whatever. It kind of locks me under a lot of things, but it's not really the end of the world. Anyway, scale, the Volflame, and Volflame, and then Volflame destroy, Volflame, set Metalfoes combination, yes, and then trigger Chronograph, summon itself, as well as the Melcaster, which does matter. Banish the Chronograph so that you can summon Dark Magician of Destruction, which is going to search your deck for Magician Souls, and then activate the Silver that destroy the Volflame, set Metalfoes combination number 2, and then send Chronograph to summon the Souls, and you can see where this is going. Send double combination, draw 2 cards, and then search 2 cards with combination. This is absolutely filthy. So that we got 4 cards in hand, 3 monsters on field, and a Pendulum Scale. Link summon for the Beyond the Pendulum to search the Astrograph. And then we can't use monster effects or all the scales effects are negated until we Pendulum summon. So scale the Bismugear, summon 2 Volflame, and then we're unnegated, so we can use monster effects and everything. Overlay for Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, and we're not going to link it off. There's no reason to do that. Activate Bismugear to destroy the Silver to set the Metalfoes Fusion. It's kind of like Metalfoes Fusion, but you can also use one material from the hand, field, and or face-up extra deck as fusion material, so using up to 1 of each location. Unlike Metalfoes Fusion, which is only hand and field, this time you can also use 1 material from the extra deck, which is really cool. But yeah, that's going to be triggering the Astrograph since we destroyed the Silver, so we can search another Silver, and then we're going to be going to Exceed the Pendulum to recycle back the Astrograph. And we're going to be looping this card multiple times. So Melcaster, destroy Bismugear, Chainlink 1 Bismugear, and then Chainlink 2 Astrograph. We have a set Metalfoes Fusion now. And the Astrograph is going to be searching Bismugear number 2. And then scale the Bismugear, destroy the Melcaster, which is going to be setting the full Metalfoes Fusion. So now that we have all 3 fusion spells on the field, as well as double combination in the grave, so we have no more targets. And the Melcaster is going to trigger, so that we recycle back the Bismugear, activate the Metalfoes Fusion, use away the summon the Mithrilium by using 1 material from the hand, 1 material from the extra deck. And the Mithrilium is going to be shuffling back the combination to bounce back the Astrograph. Because like I said, we're going to be looping the living crap out of it over and over. And then also revive back the Melcaster while you have full scales, because you can only use that effect while you have actual scales that make sense. And then you summon a Pendulum monster that, is in between, as if you were trying to Pendulum summon. But yeah, destroy the Bismugear, set combination, now that Mithrilium triggered, and then, Mithrilium recycled back the combinations, and then Astrograph is going to be searching for the 10th billion time, and then link off for IP Masquerena, flip the Metalfoes Fusion, fuse away the Mithrilium, and another monster for the Orichalc, and then Mithrilium is going to be reviving back. Bismugear was probably not the best option, because it cannot be used for, like, Alcahest as, like, the normal monster, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, Metalfoes Fusion, draw a card, and it's Metalfoes Fusion again, so yeah, I'm going to be making the Alcahest. And yeah, this is, I believe, 8 disruptions. So look at this. I have IP into SP. I can use the Absolute Dragon for the IP. So that's going to be SP to banish a card, and then SP to banish again. So that's 2 interruptions just off of IP. And then Odd Eyes Absolute into Vortex is going to be bouncing back an attack position monster to the hand. So that's one of the effects of Vortex. It's really unfair. And then Vortex is an Omni-Negate, obviously, so that's 2 disruptions off of this card. You can also negate an attack once per turn with an Absolute Dragon, so if your opponent goes battle phase trying to attack over the Masquerena, it's not going to work. Same thing with Alcahest, and then Alcahest has a quick effect to steal an effect monster on the field. Well, not really steal, but place it in the spell and trap zone, equip it. It's kind of like a Thousand Eyes Restrict, really broken. And then Orichalc, when it's sent from the field to the grave, it can destroy a card on the field, and we can easily do that by going full Metalfoes Fusion, fuse away the Orichalc, and like another Metalfoes monster into the it's one of the newer-ish Metalfoes fusion monster that like on summon it destroys a card on the field. That's like a lot of disruptions. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, should be 7 disruptions, which is pretty nice. I will take that any day of the week. Okay, so this combo is going to be super interesting. My hand has Magical Abductor and then 2 Steal-In, 1 Volflame, and a Brick. So whatever, every now and then you're going to draw a bad card. But yeah, normal summon the Abductor and then scale your 2 cards. I'm sure Steven should be so proud right now. Of course, I'm literally playing one of his favorite decks. Not really, I mean, he's never really been a Metalfoes player. That was especially me, but it is what it is. Still Pendulum cards, so obviously it's still the best deck. Yeah, your Magical Abductor can search Magician Souls as well, so it's very easy to search it. There's Chronograph, Astrograph, and Magician Souls. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously Magician Souls, but also Magical Abductor that can lead to Magician Souls, so you play multiple copies of this card without necessarily playing a lot of Magician Souls, so it's not like you're making your deck worse. And it's always easy to be able to send like Dark Spellcasters from your deck to the graveyard. So yeah, obviously send your 2 combinations, draw 2 cards, and then search 2 cards. And we drew Terraforming, which is very interesting because they can search a very good field spell in this deck. Yeah, link off into Beyond the Pendulum to search the Astrograph again, and then set your, well, scale your Malcaster. By the way, this deck is unfair if we ever get an Electrum, because Electrum is actually a Metalfoes monster. So once you're done using all of its effects, instead of having to like link climb into Appaloosa and do useless things, which, I mean, more like illegal things, you can fuse it away for like Mithrilium or Alcahest, etc. It's really broken. But yeah, Pendulum summon the Abductor, which has a soft once per turn to search. So we can use it again now. So start activating your spell cards, Terraforming to Diagram, which is insane. And then we're 2 spells, well, 1 spell away from being able to search with Abductor. And we're going to be triggering it in just a second. But before that, we will be using Astrograph to search again, and then Beyond the Pendulum, we'll exceed the Pendulum to recycle back the Astrograph so that we can keep using it again. This is actually so broken, and this deck would be even better if we had Appaloosa to climb into to negate monster effects like Nibiru, but even without it, you can still beat Nibiru. Like, if your opponent nibs you way too early, it actually works in your favor, because then it's very easy to like recover from it. This is not a deck that really relies on the Pendulum Summon all that much. Like, I could have Pendulum Summoned from the hand, I purposely chose not to, so I was always respecting the Nibiru. But if you're like Pendulum Summon 5 monsters all the time and you get nibbed, you die. You literally die, because you need a lot of cards in your hand and extra deck and field in order to like start fusing with your monsters and actually do like really relevant things. Anyways, overlay for the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, and then yeah, see the Pendulum is going to be reviving back Chronograph and then make Dark Magician of Destruction to search the Gaze of Timaeus. You have 2 search targets, Magician Souls and this, which can summon Dragoon, which can also negate Nibiru, by the way, and then fuse away the Abductor and a Metalfoes monster from Mithrilium. And then Diagram is going to be destroying the Metalfoes fusion so that you can search Masterpiece. And then Mithrilium bounces back the Diagram so that we can use Diagram again, because that is also a soft once per turn. So freaking convenient. And also get your end phase search on with Bismugear. I have infinite cards in my hand, and also the Abductor search to Droll and Logbird, another search target for it because it is a level 1 spellcaster monster. This is absolutely filthy. And by the way, we're not done yet. Of course, combination is going to be searching, so I have like even more cards, IP, trigger, Mithrilium, revive back a monster, Metalfoes fusion, search, will summon the Orichalc, and then end phase search. 6 freaking cards in hand, True King's Return face down, full Metalfoes fusion, the Gaze of Timaeus, super layered, you can Dark Ruler me, I couldn't care less. I'm still gonna have like infinite disruptions through it. Yeah, on my opponent's turn, what's gonna happen is that my opponent can activate a search card. That's a nice deck you got there. Activate Droll, that is searched in front of you. So it's not like it really surprises you. And look at these interruptions. IP into SP, and then the SP obviously banishes a card, and then Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon is going to summon the Vortex, so banish a scale. Vortex bounce back a monster to the hand, an attack position monster. And I also have the Omni Negate from Vortex, and then True King's Return can use this effect now, so tribute summon for Masterpiece. And the first time it will be destroyed by battle, it doesn't because of Diagram. But yeah, True King's Return is going to be destroying a monster on the field, and Orichalc is going to be destroying a card on the field, so destroy the Mithrilium with Return, and then destroy the scale off of Orichalc, and then the Volflame comes back. I'm going to be going full Metalfoes fusion, and if my opponent summons an effect monster, I can steal it, and then Masterpiece can destroy a card. I've got the Vortex Dragon to negate, and I've also got the Gaze of Timaeus to summon Dragoon. So that is literally 10 disruptions. It's completely ridiculous, and also this board looks absolutely gorgeous, right? Alrighty, for the deck profile, I am playing a deck with absolutely 0 hand traps because, to be completely fair with you, this is Pendulums we're talking about. It's not really Razor Malice and these kinds of decks that can afford to play infinite hand traps. Unfortunately, this deck just plays on another league. It's a great deck for locals and, playing with your friends and just trying to have fun and solitairing your hands every now and then. It's nice to play those kinds of decks. Obviously, like, I play YCSs religiously, competitively, but it's really cool to just be able to play something that you enjoy, even if you don't want to play competitively with it. So I'm not gonna pretend like this deck is the next top tier deck, but it is still very cool to play with. And if you just like to solve really complicated puzzles, I think this deck is one of your best friends, because some of the hands in this deck, they're really tricky to play out. So yeah, I definitely recommend it for sure. But yeah, anyways, 3 Volflame, 3 Stealin, 3 Gold Driver, 3 Silvered, 3 Abductor, which is the best normal summon for you. When we're gonna be getting Electrum back, I believe Rescue Rabbit will completely replace Abductor. But right now, Abductor is better because it searches Magician Souls, which honestly is just way too good, because it sends the combinations and then you draw 2 and search 2. It's like, again, it's literally designed to work in this deck. And anyways, 3 Melcaster, 3 Bismugear, like I said. So we really are maxing out in the Metalfoes, and we're also playing 3 Summoner's Art so that we can search the Volflame. Yeah, it should probably be here. The Dark Spellcaster monsters for you to summon Dark Magician of Destruction are 1 Astrograph and triple Chronograph. You can easily search them off of Beyond the Pendulum, so that's not really an issue. Yeah, for the taxes, we play a few of them. So 1 full Metalfoes, 1 Parametalfoes, and 1 Metalfoes Fusion. Terrible cards to draw. You never want to see them. Combination is actually not as bad because you can go Diagram to destroy it, and then you search, and also you search. So you get 2 searches. Does this deck beat Drill and Logbird? Absolutely not, but who cares? We're still having fun, and we're making unbreakable boards when we're not getting drilled. 1 Masterpiece, of course, 1 Diagram, 1 Terraforming. The goal is to draw only Diagram or only Terraforming and not both, because we're not trying to be bad at the game, obviously. 1 Disciples and 1 Heritage. There is a really cool play where sometimes your hand is dog shit and you can go scale, destroy Disciples, set combination, and then on a separate chain link, Disciple, destroy the combination, so that you search, and then you can go scale, destroy the Disciples. Hold on a second, that made no sense. And then you can go Heritage, draw 1 card because you're destroyed Disciples. So yeah, if you draw 2 cards, these 2 cards, it actually does something. And in theory, Disciples can use this effect to shuffle back Masterpiece, Heritage, and return, but it'll rarely come up. The only reason why you play these 2 is because destroying 2 spells and traps can randomly come up sometimes, but not all the time. And yeah, I think for the most part, this deck list is pretty clean. I mean, it's also somewhat minimalistic for Metalfoes deck. It's not like I'm trying to play like 2 copies of like a certain Metalfoes monster, just because we need a lot of names for this deck to be consistent, otherwise it really just doesn't work. For the extra deck, 1 Dark Magician of Destruction. You can also main deck the Dragoon and the Gaze of the Mice, but it's just going to be more bricks. So I think I would delegate this to the side deck only. 1 Orichalc, 1 Vortex, the Azortless, which is the monster that I was referring to when I said, oh, one of the new fusion monster that destroys a card on summon. Whatever, this one is the one that I was talking about. 2 Etherealium, very good at bouncing back your own Astrograph or your own Diagram so that you can keep using those cards again and again and again. It's so freaking awesome. This card is the GOAT. 1 Alcahest, of course, it's a great interruption. It's just a good card overall. Odd Eyes Absolute so that you can summon your Vortex and get full advantage off of it, and also negate attacks once per turn. And then Selene doesn't really do anything without Appaloosa, and we also don't play Access Code. But if you can fit it in, then that's perfect. 1 Exceed the Pendulum, which is broken, way better than Selene. And then 1 Hita, Beyond the Pendulum, of course. It's low-key actually really hard to summon because you need 2 effect monsters, including a Pendulum monster. Honestly, you don't really play a lot of Pendulum monsters that are effect monsters. The only ones are Melcaster, Abductor, Chronograph, and Astrograph. That's it. So all of your other Metalfoes monsters, they don't really work too much. So sometimes this card can be a little tricky to summon, but it still works out, I think. And then yeah, SP, IP, and Link Spider so that you can turn a normal monster into an effect monster so that this becomes a little easier to summon, or that you can make SP Little Knight so that you can also banish stuff. And also sometimes you have like way too many monsters, you want to go normal summon a Metalfoes and then make Link Spider and then effect summon a monster, and then you can make an SP right away, and then you can start breaking the board and play the game from there. And the idea section is kind of like self-explanatory, and I kind of went over it, but yeah, Gaze, Optimize, Dragoon, Access Code so that Selene actually does something instead of being useless as shit. Jackal King with Cerberus, Sloth, which is not too bad. Then again, you can also just play this in Dragon Ruler or in any deck that can use Hieratic Seal, Droll, and Veiler that you can search off of Abductor because they're level 1 spellcaster monsters. Metalfoes Crimsonite, which is one of the best super poly targets in the entire game, requires a Metalfoes monster and 2 monsters with 3000 or less attacks, so it's very generic. And then Heavy Metalfoes Amalgam is dog shit, don't really recommend it for any combos. Cross Sheep is Copium, don't really need it because Beyond the Pendulum, Exceed the Pendulum are better Link monsters to make, for the most part. A Painful Decision is not a painful decision at all because Summoner's Art is just better. This card is once per turn, Summoner's Art is not once per turn. And also this is a level 7 for Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, which is one of your best friends to beat Nibiru, and yeah, super poly. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Holy crap, what is going on with me? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Metalfoes in the comment section below. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.